Hello and welcome to episode number 73 of the Nintendo Jump Podcast. We are, as you know, a weekly discussion podcast created for Nintendo gamers by Nintendo gamers. We're live, so it is actually November 14th. My name is Darrel. Today I'm once again joined by my good friend Sergio, soon-to-be enemy Sergio. How are you doing, man?
Hey, Darrel, I'm doing pretty well. You know, you may know this, that I always, every day, wear a KK Slider t-shirt. I guess I'm not that okay. Well, kinda, because right now I'm not wearing KK. Can you take a guess at what I am wearing?
I'm just going to go with Score Bunny.
You are correct.
Okay. All right. So I do still know you. Yes, as we said, we're recording on November 14th, so we're continuing this weird little trend of doing live episodes ahead of big game releases that Dragon pointed out. I don't know how we keep doing this, but whatever, it's fun. So yeah, Pokemon tomorrow, and I'm sure we're all about as excited as the rest of the internet is. Oh my god. Anyways, no, we're both getting it, so we'll have some fun. So this week, actually, our good friend Kevin is traveling, so he's not able to join us. So we didn't actually rehearse this, but Sergio, what are we talking about?
We're actually gonna have something that's a little bit pending in a way. One previous episode where we thought we weren't gonna have the awesome presence of Kevin, he actually did end up showing up, and we still kind of debated a little bit. But 1v1v1 debate is not the same as 1v1. If that makes any sense to anyone.
Yeah, 3-part debates are not historically all that great.
So we are catching up on our pending great debates, and we ask our listeners, our Discord community, for some questions that they would want us to debate, and we're gonna tackle some of them.
Yeah, so we got an absolutely gigantic list of crazy topics, and we're gonna figure out exactly how we're going to swing this. I don't actually know, but the way this is gonna work, of every category, Sergio and I will pick a side. Sometimes it may not actually be the side that one of us believes in, but we're gonna debate it. We're gonna involve you, chat. You guys are gonna help us determine what the right answer is, and then we'll move on. So with that, let's get into it. I'm gonna let for home field advantage, I think I'm gonna let you pick the first question.
Okay, sounds good. And this one, I like it. It could be controversial. This question is by Shellshock, and he asked us, Sonic versus Megaman. You guys gotta do this. Which blue protagonist had the better games, the better lore, better music, and more fun factor?
I mean, I want to go Mega Man, but who are you going on this one?
I guess I'll go Sonic.
Congratulations.
Yes, all right. I'm lucky.
All right, so Mega Man versus Sonic, the better games. Come on. I mean, the Mega Man series is ridiculous. It was one of the things that formed modern platforming, whereas the Sonic games, I mean, pretty good, but have kind of struggled. Not that Mega Man hasn't, but Mega Man has evolved over time. We have the classic Mega Man, you have Mega Man X, you have the Battle Network series, and a bunch more that I'm missing right now, Legends, and so on. So better games, I gotta go with Mega Man, just for variety and for just playability. They're really tight. They kind of, like I said, they kind of invented what the modern action platformer was, and reinvented it several times. So yeah, gotta go with that. The better lore. Oh man. I mean, cut to the X series, which is set hundreds of years in the future from the old classic Mega Man series. And by the way, everyone from the Mega Man series is now dead. That's a heck of a lot of lore. Sonic, eat your heart out. I don't know. Better music. Come on. He's known as Rockman in Japan for a reason. His games defined what video game music was for an entire generation. Come on. And finally, more fun factor. I mean, if you got a better game, with a better story, with better music, and it plays well, it's going to be more fun. So I will take the easy answer on that one.
Well, okay. You make some good points, but let me counter you. Starting back again with the better games. Let's keep in mind that Sonic at some point was competing against someone as high up as Mario. I don't recall Mega Man doing that. Maybe I missed it. I doubt it. But yeah, Sonic, butted heads against the legendary Mario, and it led a console, several consoles for Sega. So that speaks to the level of Sonic games. A lot of people are fans. As for the better lore, Sonic has a lot of characters. A lot. Some people say too many. I disagree. I think the more characters equals more lore, equals more good games, and just better overall. And when it comes to music, who doesn't know about Sonic? And music that is good in different ways. Sometimes he's cheesy good, sometimes he's just cheesy. But the music is there. The music has always been a big part of Sonic games, for better or worse. But overall, it's good music. And as for the more fun factor, yeah, no, Mega Man wins. I'm not going there with that
You
one.
couldn't even keep it up.
No,
I
no,
mean,
not.
I wanted to come in and counter your points until you just like fell apart. I did have one counter of something you actually said. So, yeah, it's true. I can't argue that Sonic went against Mario, but he lost. So, I mean, at what point does that actually add credibility? Like I once played against Mango in Smash Melee, but that doesn't exactly lend me all that much credibility, right? So, fair,
Well,
I guess.
no, true. I mean, at least he tried, and he's getting a movie that is looking better now.
He's getting a movie that is marginally less terrible than it originally
Yes.
looked. Okay, I digress. I mean that actually the movie looks a lot better. Now it just looks like a mediocre video game movie, not an abomination.
Yes.
Oh wow. Okay. So I think the two debaters are just like going mutual for Team Mega Man on this one.
Yeah, I agree.
Uh Okay, good debate. We
Yes.
came to a conclusion. I like this. Okay. So I'm gonna pick the question, and that means you will get to choose your side on it.
Oh, okay.
Shy Guy wrote in, which deserves more credit for the Switch's success? Its hardware form factor or its library?
I'm gonna go with the hardware form factor. And part of the reason for that is because I feel like the library, while it is good, I'm gonna say it's getting there. I feel like when you think of other systems, pretty much any system, but specifically the bigger hits like the NES, the SNES, you think of games like The Legend of Zelda, Metroid, Mario, and we're not done with the Switch. We're probably, I don't know, maybe halfway or getting to the halfway point. So there's still a lot to be said there. But I feel like considering that Nintendo merged their handheld and console divisions, and this is all we have gotten so far, I mean, it's a lot of good games, but I feel like it should be more. I feel like Nintendo is relying a good amount on third parties, especially indies. It's a good thing because we're getting a lot of variety, but I feel like the first party games are a little more sparse than I would want. So I know that Switch is a success, and I think the reason for that is the form factor that people can play it as a console, as a handheld. There are a few good games, like I said, but I feel like there should be more, so I don't think the software
A
is the
few good
key.
games. Sergio, a few good games. What? What?
A few first party good games, I'll say.
I don't even know what to. Ugh. Okay. All right. So the Switch started out 2017. It released in March. It then proceeded to have the best year in software lineup history. You got Breath of the Wild, which is maybe the best game ever made. You got a remake of Mario Kart 8 with all the DLC, which is probably the best Mario Kart game ever made.
Old game, but yes.
Oh, well, yeah. You got Splatoon 2, which is probably the best shooter ever made. Oh, shots fired. You got a new IP in ARMS that got eaten by Splatoon, admittedly, but it was still a great, great game. You got a brand new 3D Mario, which we hadn't had like a full world 3D Mario since the Wii. 3D World, it was kind of stage based, great, but a little bit different. I mean, come on. In addition to everything else it got that year, it had the most incredible year in the history of games, and it is just continuing that momentum into like gigantic RPG experiences, both old games and new games. We've got games on the horizon we didn't even know would actually come back, such as a retro-developed Metroid Prime 4. We've got a brand new console Animal Crossing. When was the last time you could say that? We've got a brand new console full-fledged Pokemon game. You've never been able to say that. Come on. Like, the software lineup is among the best ever. Not to mention you're getting all this indie side support with games like Celeste, which is just world-rocking, and even games like Overcooked, Rocket League, all the indie games that have wanted to be on various platforms are finding new life on the Switch, actually getting higher sales numbers. People are eating these games up. That's why the system is successful.
Yeah, no, I mean there are good games on the system. Don't get me wrong, but I feel like there should be more, especially when you consider two things. One that I already mentioned, when Nintendo merged their handheld and their console division, in a way that should almost tell you, okay, we're gonna be doubling our software efforts on this system, and I feel like maybe over time it'll get there, but I don't think it's there yet. Another thing, the Wii U was left to die for at least 1, maybe 2 years. Its last 2 years were barren. We got a Mario Tennis game with no online that almost nobody liked. We were getting those kind of games.
I can't even argue with that.
It's because Nintendo was holding on to their good stuff for the Switch. Games like ARMS, like Splatoon 2. And you even mentioned, there's a lot of old games on the Switch that are just ports of Wii U games. So I feel like a lot of that has to do with the fact that Nintendo is kind of struggling a little bit with, again, first-party content. I feel like it should be more, all things considered.
I mean, what would they currently have that you wouldn't what do they not have that you would have expected at this point?
I mean, at this point, and you're gonna agree with this because there's been a rumored Pikmin game forever, and we don't know anything.
Don't you hurt me like this?
It should already be out.
Yeah, I agree with that. But even still, I mean, you can't hinge an entire console library on Pikmin.
No.
They tried to with the Wii U and it flopped.
Now, you mentioned Zelda, which is, arguably the best Zelda to many people. But again, that was a Wii U game.
Well, yeah. But, at what point does the fact that it was on an older console really diminish the game?
That's true.
I mean, I'm trying to give you the kill shot of, well, the Wii U had a great library, but was a failure, but you're not taking it, so.
I mean, if, for the few people, it's sad to say, but the few people that play those games on the Wii U, they're not going to be interested, most likely, they're not going to be interested on playing them again on the Switch. They're looking for new things. I mean, shots extra fired, but even a game like Splatoon 2, you know that it wasn't as much of a sequel as it could have been. I feel like it relied a little too much on the original because the original is great, but I feel like it should have been a little more than that.
You know what? I could probably keep debating this one, but I'm going to give you the point on this one because I do think that you can play this game anywhere has led to a lot of the games coming to Switch, period. So, yeah,
that's true.
Fine.
Yep.
Fine. Point to Sergio. All right, go ahead and pick the next question.
Let's see. This is a good one too. Lama Libre, which franchise should get priority on the Switch? Pikmin or Star Fox? And I'm gonna go with Star Fox.
Okay, then I'm gonna go with Pikmin. I was supposed to choose because you asked the dang question, but whatever. Okay, so I can start. Star Fox Zero just had a game, was not successful. Star Fox has gotten content in Starlink, and Pikmin has not been seen for quite a while, other than a obvious spin-off game on the 3DS, which even that's been a little while. Pikmin is one of Nintendo's core franchises. It has been since the GameCube era, which you cannot say about Star Fox, and it's surprisingly missing on the Switch. I think it's time. I really do think it's time.
It is time to seek Pikmin, but I feel like Star Fox is more important to Nintendo. You know, Star Fox was a key game as far back as the Super Nintendo. I don't believe Pikmin was there. I don't believe Pikmin was on the N64. I mean, arguably, you could say that Pikmin was a bit of a reach in part of Miyamoto. He was a little forced to come up with something new when people were complaining that there were not a lot of new IPs on the Nintendo side as of that time. So he came up with Pikmin, which is great, again, but I feel like Star Fox is a lot more deserving of attention, and even Miyamoto has done so with Star Fox Zero for the Wii U, which was a reboot to the series, which tells you that Miyamoto and Nintendo as a whole is interested in the series.
So now's the time I get to pick apart your argument, which means I'm going to argue against one of my favorite game series. So just brace yourself. I'll brace myself. Which Star Fox game would you say was the last good one?
Oh man. I'm gonna have to go with Star Fox 64.
Okay. So people in the chat, Dragon and Link Triforce are bringing up Star Fox Zero. I actually liked Star Fox Zero. I'm not sure I would call it good per se, but I thought it was fun. I would probably say that the last good one was Star Fox Assault on GameCube. I actually really enjoyed that a lot. But there you go. I mean, and this is not the last time they actually did this game. You know, they've tried it a few times since then, and it just has not been a success. So why would you keep trying to force these games?
Well, you are right in a way because yes, the last good Star Fox game was Star Fox 64 3D, which was fairly recent. So, Nintendo cares.
Fair enough. Okay. Do you want to pick apart our poor Pikmin, or do you want to just like leave this one?
No, I'll leave them because I agree. Like I said, there should already be a Pikmin game on the Switch. Again, going back to my argument that Nintendo is lacking a little bit in first-party software because it's not there. It's not even shown yet. So we're waiting.
All right. So this is an impasse. I say Pikmin. You say Star Fox. Chat, tell us who's right.
Oh, Star Fox votes are coming in.
Oh, 2 for Star Fox, 1 for Pikmin. Oh, they're tied up.
Oh,
Pikmin took the lead. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, Pikmin wins. Nope. No double votes.
Fine. Pikmin takes it.
Fine, Pikmin takes it. Okay. Absolutely no bias here. Beckzilla wrote, do you prefer movies or TV based on video games, or video games based on movies or TV?
I'm gonna go with movies or TV shows based on video games.
Ooh. Okay. All right. So I get all the licensed games.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Well, the reason for that is because on a personal level, I already play games. So I like to see games and their franchises on other mediums that I may not be as involved in. I would rather be playing video games, but if the video games themselves, like those characters, those worlds and franchises expand into something else, it's going to catch my eye a lot more than just another game. Like, it's going to make me go and watch a movie or a TV show that I may not otherwise because, again, it's related to the video game characters and franchises that I love.
So what was the last one that you saw?
I guess, hold on. It's not Detective Pikachu. It was something else after that. And
that's actually a good pick, though.
yeah. I think there was something else too, but I'm forgetting. It was that good that I'm forgetting.
Okay. So I get licensed games, so games based on TVs or movies, which have admittedly had a spotty history. We do have things in our past like Superman 64, the game. We do have things like tons of really, really bad Game Boy Advance licensed games, such as the That's So Raven game. That's So Raisin. um, and Miley Cyrus's game and so on. I'm sorry, Hannah Montana. Uh, so yeah, there's a lot of badness on my side here. However, certain times a game that is based on an existing franchise is actually quite good, and I've got two examples that I'm playing right now. The first one would be Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3, which is among the best brawler type games I've ever played. It's just Marvel superheroes going through the equivalent of dungeons or mazes and such, and a full crazy story that feels like it's ripped straight out of a comic book. But it's a fun game. It's a really fun game. It plays really well. The powers are really cool to actually see come to life and control. Um, it's it's a game that I have found myself really enjoying more so than I would have expected even. And you remember back, I was hyped about it. I'm still playing it.
Mm.
I know I haven't really talked about it, but yeah. My second example is another game I'm playing that is actually an older game. Got ported from the GameCube. It's Star Wars Jedi Knight 2 Jedi Outcast, which is, of course, it's based on an existing Star Wars story, but it's not exactly made for it. It didn't start as a video game. Game's incredible, and it gives you the same feeling of it's got all of the orchestral music from Star Wars, the ones that the ones that you've kind of grown up with, and actually playing through the games and getting this music as a soundtrack to what you're doing in the games feels more powerful than like anything else when you've actually referenced these movies before. Another one that comes to mind is Star Wars Rogue Leader, which was also on the GameCube, which shout out to GameCube Star Wars games. Yeah, just every once in a while, one comes through that is just, it takes the best parts of what you've watched and pulls on your heartstrings a little bit while you're playing the game. And to me, that's pretty powerful.
That's true. I mean, that's nice that one, like you said, once in a while, one game does that. But to the other side, to my point, having TV shows and movies based on video games, another important part of that is that it spreads video game culture and video game awareness outside of video games. Because, I mean, sad to say, even today there's a lot of misinformation about what video games are, who the main market is. The people that play most video games is definitely not just kids. Most adults are actually the core of the gaming market, and a lot of people still don't know that. And I feel like by having movies and TV shows that are based on video games, in the most popular video games, like we're getting a Sonic movie in that's not a popular video game. We're getting a Mario movie eventually.
What? Why are you arguing my side here, Sergio?
Going back, we're getting a Mario movie, and that is popular. Everybody knows Mario, so
And we all remember how good the last Mario movie was. Yeah.
oh. Well, I feel like by having that awareness, spreading out to other mediums, it just helps video game awareness and understanding of what video games are and who really plays them, in that they are honestly for everyone.
So I guess this really comes down to, and I can't argue with your actual points, but I think it comes down to two very different things. So your point is movies and TV shows help spread awareness and the story of games. My point is games can help internalize the settings and feelings of movies and TV shows. I don't know how to resolve this. Chat, tell us. Oh, man.
Oh.
My wife actually voted for Sergio. All right. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. That's it. Sergio wins. Okay. You got it. You got it. Okay. Your question.
Next question by Farore's Dragon. He asked, Is Animal Crossing overrated? What do you say,
Okay,
Darrel?
I'm gonna take the no side.
Oh, okay. And why is
Um,
that?
I'm gonna say that Animal Crossing is not overrated. Animal Crossing is, in particular, loved by its fans because it is a special video game. It's a game that gives them the chance to just live this. I want to say almost this vacation, almost this getaway, and you have the ability to just simply customize things, make friends with the animals of the village, give actually get some socialization either with with your actual friends or with the animals in this village. Do things like customizing your house, going fishing. It's relaxing. It's different than anything else you've ever played, and it's just kind of wonderful for it. So no, I'm gonna say it's not overrated.
Really, that's interesting. I do think it is actually quite overrated. I mean, when you consider the fact that they made a mobile game out of it, that just tells you that Nintendo is just, they're kind of reaching. They know that Animal Crossing has had enough.
No, it tells you that Nintendo knows what they have and they want to get it in the hands and hearts of everyone around the world with no restrictions. So put it on a mobile phone market so everyone can play it.
Well, and that's the thing. Everyone can play it, and everybody has. I feel like everyone has already had enough of Animal Crossing, and this has happened for a while. Nobody was asking for Animal Crossing at this year's E3 or the E3 before because everyone knows the series. Everyone has had enough of the mobile game Pocket Camp, and nobody really cares. Everybody wants Metroid. Everybody wants Pikmin, Star Fox, a brand new Zelda original to the Switch, Nintendo, please. And I feel like Animal Crossing had its moment. It's been overdone. There are a lot of franchises like it, a lot of games that have real time services and gameplay elements. So I don't know. I just feel like Nintendo is really forcing Animal Crossing onto everyone, and I feel like it's to their detriment.
Well, I mean, just because you don't maybe understand the appeal doesn't mean that you really need to, just trash the game for it because there are people I personally know people who have spent thousands of hours in this game. It's important to them in the past games, right? And they're super excited for March 20th. I'm among them. Absolutely. I'm it's in my pre-order list right now. So, yeah, I mean, some of us just can't wait for it, and it may not be your favorite game like Doom, which is also coming out the same day, but it's a very different game that has its place. So I can't sit here and let you call it overrated, Sergio. I just can't.
Well, that's the thing you mentioned. There are crazy people out there that they take their work vacation just to play these games when they come out. I mean, that's too much. I feel like those are the people that, like you said, they have played those games for thousands of hours, and they can keep doing that, and that's it. There doesn't need to be another entry on a franchise that has already delivered thousands of hours of quote unquote enjoyment to these people. I mean, if you played 1,000 hours of a game, just play another 1,000. Why require another entry that nobody really wants?
But it's the same.
Ah,
You want it to stay with the time. I'm gonna keep this going as long as possible because I'm loving this. By the way, you want to play your game on the console that you also love. There are numerous people who are transitioning mostly to Switch players at this point who maybe up till now have been forced to play other games like Rocket League or, single characters in Smash, things like that, that are really looking forward to this game as they want to play on Switch. They want the best looking, best playing game. They want new mechanics, new villagers to meet, a new island to play on. I say let them have it, man.
well, I don't know because I mean, think about it. We have Isabel in Smash. That just tells you how big Animal Crossing is, how much of a reach Nintendo is really trying to force it down everyone's throats just by putting her in one of the most popular games of this generation. And how many different animals are there? There's over 500. I feel like that's too much. Like you said, everyone wants to keep playing Animal Crossing. Well, everyone can get it on their phone. I think that's enough.
Okay, I'm gonna let you out of this one. That was Oh, I'm gonna clip some of that. I'm gonna post it over on Haken,
No.
and there you. All right, chat. You're welcome for that one, but what you think? Unless you want to concede, which you can feel free. Okay, I got one vote. Yeah, we're gonna post an expose in our blog. Okay, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. With one vote, I win. There you go.
Nice.
Hey, I am excited. I do have it pre-ordered, so there you go. I'm gonna play it. It's gonna be our game of the month for April. So that's a thing we do. Game of the month, and Animal Crossing will be one. So there you go. No, I'm gonna play it too. I'm arguing with my wife over chat. All right. So I'm gonna go with a question that's a little more open-ended, a little less like 1 versus 1 here. But we're gonna get to choose our side. So I'm gonna give you a second. Which villain is most deserving of a spin-off game in which they are playable?
I have my choice.
Okay, go ahead.
The thing is, it depends if you consider him a villain. I guess technically he is. So I feel like Waluigi deserves his own game. He deserves more than that. He deserves to be in Smash. And fingers crossed, he might be the last character either in the first Fighter's Pass or part of the additional ones. But I feel like Waluigi has been sitting on the bench too long. There are Wario games out there, and I feel like it's time to give Waluigi a chance. I feel like, actually, I know if Nintendo made a Waluigi game, they would pull out all the stops. We always hear about these war shits that Nintendo has of gameplay elements and design elements for video games. I feel like they have been saving them for a Waluigi game that it might be Nintendo's last or swan song before they go third party. They're gonna go out with a crazy Waluigi bang.
Crazy Waluigi Bang is maybe the title of this episode. Okay. So I have some real answers, but I'm gonna go with one that I would actually like to see. For those of you who have played one of my favorite games, Splatoon, how awesome would it be to play a game as DJ Octavio himself, crossfade to black? That would be incredible. It could be a music game. It could be a spin-off completely for him, where you're mixing tunes to brainwash the other Octolings, and maybe it's an army building strategy game as well. That would be interesting. But yeah, I've got to go with DJ Octavio. He is the most deserving for a character development. If you don't know what I'm saying, it's probably because you play in a different region other than the U.S. Please watch some clips from the U.S. because the localization that they gave him is incredible. He's the funniest character I've seen in a video game in a very long time.
Cool. That sounds interesting. I like the fact that you sort of left it open ended in terms of the genre of the game that it could be. But again, going back to Waluigi, and as it stands today, we would also be getting Waguigi. So it's a character that comes in two varieties
Oh
right
my
from the
God.
get go. And going back to a little bit of our discussion on the previous episode, that a character has to be recognizable. Who doesn't know Waluigi at this point? Either because they know it from the Nintendo games or because they know it from people wanting him in Smash. Again, fingers crossed that it happens. So I just feel like Waluigi would be more deserving of his own game, and people would buy more copies of it.
Dude, you knew you won this after Waluigi, so yeah, I'm done. I'm done. Pick your question. Yeah, I'm not even leaving that one up to a vote. That's just embarrassing. In fairness, he picked the obvious choice, but come on, Waluigi was not obvious. That was a good pull.
Okay. Cube asked, best Tetrimino. Which one is the best?
I mean, it's got to be a T, right? I mean, none of the other Tetraminos have a scoring move named after them. None of them are quite as, functional or useful. You almost never hate to get a T in your lineup, whereas you do with pretty much every other piece. So it's got to be a T.
I'm not so sure. I think the line, the bar, I don't know if it's its official name, but the bar, the straight bar is pretty much the best piece that you can get because you're always setting up for it. You're always leaving that single column of Tetrimino blocks or empty spaces, and you're just waiting for that bar because when you get it, you're gonna do some damage to your opponent. And if you stack them up and you save at least two, if you get lucky and you do three, that's gonna do some heavy damage.
Yeah, but it's not going to do as much damage as if you actually set up the T-spin pillar. That is by far the most advanced, best thing you can do in this game. And that's just, you set up the pillar so that every time you get a T, you get to just dump garbage on everyone else. Yes, Tetrises are nice. I get it's the title. But even if you're not good at doing the T-spins, the Ts are still useful. The eye blocks, or whatever you want to call them, I guess, sometimes you get those and you don't have a place for them. And how many times have you lost because you put one of those in a place it wasn't supposed to be? It happens. It happens more than a T.
It happens, but you know what happens less than a T? Or I guess what I'm saying is, who really knows how to do a T spin? I would love to see the percentage of Tetris players, competitive or not, just in general, out of all the people that play Tetris, who actually manages to pull them off consistently. I feel like a lot more people, myself included, we can do the Tetris all day, every
So
day.
you're saying the T block is for good players?
I would say for more advanced mechanical players that sort of take away the fun of Tetris by forcing these magical spins into the game, something like that.
Magical spins. Oh my god. Okay. I'm not wavering off of T. Are you switching your vote?
No, I'm staying with the Tetris.
All right, chat, you know what to do.
Oh,
Oh. Oh no. I thought he
what?
was voting. Fine, Sergio, you take it again.
Oh wow, I
That
was reaching
is
there.
disappointing, people. That is just disappointing. I don't know. Okay, let me find a good question. Okay. All right. Dragon says, water levels or desert levels?
I'm gonna go with the desert level.
Thank you so much. I hate desert levels. All right, why do you go with desert level, Mr. Sergio?
I'm concerned for your hate to desert levels because let's not even talk about water levels yet. I'll get to that in a minute. But when you're on the desert, first of all, you can have an oasis. So you can have water and you can have a break from the heat, and you can also have those imaginary ones, and you can pretend you're pretty much anywhere. Uh, but I feel like the desert level is more open-ended in terms of how big the world can be. I feel like the water levels are a little bit forced in most games. And who that has played The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time does not absolutely hate the water temple? And again, it's because of how convoluted and difficult it is. Even on the 3DS remake of the game, where they implemented a better way to equip the iron boots, even so, that dungeon is just broken. Too much water. That's a thing, and I think when you have
So-
too much water in levels, I mean that just downs the review of the level and of the game itself.
I just want to say, I beat the water temple in Zelda Ocarina of Time when I was 9. And you're like, the temple is not bad. It's actually one of my favorite. It might be my favorite temple in the game. Just the music in it, the Dark Link fight, it's awesome. However, I mean, think back to every game ever. The water levels are this awesome, pretty. They generally have really, really good music. Even going back to the first Super Mario Brothers, the water level. I mean, that's awesome. Some of them don't play as well, but you can also say that for desert levels, which have, I don't know, quicksand. Oh, worst mechanic ever for a video game. And, water levels are a chance for video game designers to really break out and, take a level that may be established in a 2D space, flood it with water, and allow you to move in a different way, actually force you to move in a different way, and really stretch what you think about the game. Whereas desert levels pretty much just hinder your movement constantly. They don't actually add anything to you. Typically, there's, thinking back to Mario 64, there's rapid quicksand pits that as soon as you touch them, you die. That's awful. It's awful. Even thinking back to the earlier Mario games, again, quicksand, they prevent you from jumping. Super Metroid has the same thing. Whereas water levels are typically intriguing. You think back to Dire Docks in Super Mario 64. I keep going back to that game because it has very good examples of both, actually. That level was completely different than anything else in the game. It was a giant freaking eel and things you could do that you couldn't do anywhere else. It had one of the better songs in video gaming, period. And that's kind of a consistent theme in games, is the water levels are generally, they generally feel, I don't mean this as like cool, but they feel like cool colored. You kind of feel cool when you're playing them. There's kind of a calming effect most of the time. And in the best cases, you use the water as a tool for puzzles or for game mechanics, and they actually use interesting things. Whereas sand, pretty much designed to get in the way and prevent you from doing stuff.
Well, I'm not sure about that. I feel like part of the desert level design is to create an environment that players want to get away from. It's more like a challenge. When you're a good gamer, you're looking forward to a challenge. For example, the Gerudo Desert in Ocarina of Time. I mean, you think about your times playing that game. It was pretty challenging, and I feel like, like you said, quicksand and sandstorms and getting lost in the desert. It's all part of the challenge, and it makes the level more realistic. Whereas when you have a water level, like you said, sometimes they just take this existing environment and by some crazy magic they just fill it up with water. It reminds me of Skyward Sword. There's a forest in the game that when you go back to it, for some reason it's flooded. And I mean, how does a forest get flooded to that level of floodliness? I don't I don't understand how that works. And also it makes me think about how characters are able to breathe underwater in games like Mario Kart 8, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. What are we teaching our children? I feel like games need to teach realism to a better degree, and I feel like having a challenging desert level that players want to quickly complete before they die, which that's how you would approach a desert in real life. And I appreciate realism in video games, and not just using water just because.
Just because? What are you talking about? Have you never seen Mario dying from being in the water too long, or any other character like that? I get Mario Kart, but there's also a moon level. I mean, come on. What is the moon but a giant desert? Come on. I don't. I can't agree with you. I am water till I die. Are you switching?
Yes, I am. I love the water temple.
All right, I'll take the point on that one. You love the water temple, really?
Yeah,
You were
it
so
was
convincing,
challenging.
though.
I like the challenge.
All right, your question. Oh yeah, so Naprat brings up Sonic water levels. Sonic water levels may be the antithesis to my point. Those things are awful, awful. I don't know any Sonic desert levels, but the song that plays, I don't even play that many that many Sonic games, but the song that plays oh my, one of the worst things ever.
This is gonna be interesting. Shy Guy asked, "Who is the better Mushroom Kingdom citizen, Mario or Luigi?"
Okay, I choose Luigi.
Darn.
Do you just
Okay.
want to give me the win, right? Or do you actually want
No,
to make me make this point because everyone knows it?
well, go for it. Let me see what I can do for Mario.
I mean, have you like watched Mario and Luigi ever? Like, have you seen these characters ever? Like, Mario is all in it to be the quote superstar. He's in it for himself. He's in it uh just, he, of course, he goes and rescues the princess, but he rescues the princess because he kind of loves her. So I mean, I don't it's a selfish reasoning every time for what he needs to do. And by the way, as he's doing this, he's stepping on his younger brother, who's consistently in his shadow, but is by far the more interesting, more developed, better, good person character. And the reason for that, everything Luigi does that isn't just like a personal satisfaction thing, everything Luigi does is to help others, is to, he gets thrust into these adventures because he has to save, oh, by the way, Mario, over and over and over. And in the meantime, with games like Paper Mario games, Luigi goes on his own adventure that Mario could not care about at all. But he's doing it because this other world needs him to come and save it. Luigi he doesn't mean to go on adventures, but he gets thrust into them, and then he becomes a hero despite his fears and despite his complexities. He becomes a hero for all of these other tracks, and he is the hero that we all deserve. Team Luigi.
Very well said. I feel like just giving you the point already. No, but actually, to Mario's defense, when you think about the fact that the princess, like you said, Mario is always the one saving her, but on the other side of that coin, Mario coin, it's the princess always asking for Mario. When do we ever see Peach yelling, "Luigi, save me, Luigi"? I mean, she knows who to ask for help, right? That tells you she knows who can save the day, the person that already has, multiple times. And I feel like, she gets kidnapped so many times that I feel like Luigi has had a chance to assist with that. And for one reason or another, he just doesn't want to or is incapable of. I feel like it's probably the latter, because that's why Peach always asks for Mario. Bowser is always looking out for Mario and not Luigi. That says a lot.
Hey, codependency is unhealthy, Sergio. I'm just gonna throw that out there. And I mean, so contrast that to Luigi's quote unquote love interest in Daisy, who literally they don't need to rescue each other. They just go on fun adventures together. They go ride their carts around and play tennis and such. It's great. It's not this toxic relationship that whatever Mario and Peach have. It's terrible. So
yeah, but I mean, doesn't it get boring? I mean, wouldn't you rather be on an exciting adventure either on the rescuing side or on the kidnap side? I mean, it sounds kind of fun.
No, it doesn't. None of that sounds fun. You know what does sound fun? Going karting and playing tennis and stuff. That sounds fun. All right. What do you want to do?
No, Luigi takes it.
Okay. I'm sorry. I had a handicap on that one.
I tried, Mario.
Yeah. No, he's just he suffers from mascot syndrome. Mascots are just always less likable than others. All right, I got one specifically for you.
All right.
Phil writes, orange team or blue team in Rocket League?
Oh, darn. I'm going to go with orange team.
Okay.
So the reasons I'm going with orange team for Rocket League, first of all, I mean, orange is a fruit, right? And fruits are good for you. Also, orange is closer to the color of wood, which is my favorite material. Very cool. It's very well used for construction. It is just very elegant. But let's move away from the wood and back to orange. It's a warm color, and who doesn't like a little bit of warm nowadays? It's a good feeling.
I mean, I prefer cool colors. My favorite color in video games tends to be on the purple spectrum, which is, hey, it's included in the blue side of Rocket League cars. So yeah, gotta go with blue. End of the day, they all say, this is just cosmetic. It doesn't actually matter. But we all know that the blue team wins more often in Rocket League. So I'm just going to rest my case right there.
Orange, you glad I didn't say something silly?
I'm sorry. I've got to blew my nose. Okay, that's about as far as I think we need to take that one. Chat, Blue versus orange. Okay. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Yeah, I'm taking this one. Mostly because most people like blue, and that's just another whatever. Okay, your question.
Okay, let's see. Wave, whoever that is, asked us sweaters or jackets.
Jackets, you can take them off. There's my argument.
And yeah, to your point, they are more versatile in terms of weather, and I feel like it's easier to get a video game themed jacket than a sweater.
No, I mean, so chat's calling me out. Yes, you can literally take sweaters off. I get it, but jackets are easier to take off. You can wear them over a t-shirt or something, and unzip them and go. Whereas if you're wearing a sweater, you've got to like pull it up over your head. Sometimes your t-shirt goes with it, and that's just embarrassing. So no, jacket, 100% jacket.
So yes, I agreed with jacket.
Ah, yeah. Phil comes in with a good point. There are no ugly jacket contests. Well, not with that attitude, buddy.
I mean, I guess sweaters can be a little more cozy, but let's just leave it at they can be.
All right, so I'm not even going to call that a point because we just kind of both chose jacket. So,
Yes.
chat, you're wrong. We win this one. Okay, you want to pick another question or should I?
If you have one, go ahead.
All right, Shy Guy. We all know that the recent Pokemon games have a bit of controversy around them, at least due to the handling of a dev team at Game Freak. If you were to hand the Pokemon series off to a different game developer within Nintendo, would you choose to hand it to the Splatoon/Animal Crossing team or to the Mario team?
I would give it to the Mario team.
Okay.
One of the main reasons is because we would get Pokemon games fairly constantly. When you look at games like Splatoon or Animal Crossing, at those series, man, you get those games, what, every 6 years, 7 years for Animal Crossing, and what was it, 2, maybe 3 years for
Yeah, like 3
Splatoon,
years.
but I mean, we don't know when Splatoon 3 is gonna come out. That's gonna take a while, and I feel like Pokemon is more deserving of a yearly or every other year release. And I feel like if the Mario team is in charge of them, that's what they would get.
Okay. Well, I mean, at that point, we're kind of neglecting that whatever team we give it to may not have time to work on anything else at the time. So bye-bye Mario. There you go. You're welcome. So I'll take the Splatoon Animal Crossing team just because I feel like, and I've been fairly vocal. I've played one Pokemon game and then I've kind of been skeptical about marginal iterations of games and such. But I think that the series could really use a bit more like life and personality and such put into it. And I get the monsters themselves are cute and they have animations and personalities and such. But it could really use to really build out what the world is, and that is something that I feel like the team behind Splatoon is actually really good at. Let's give these characters some attitude, a little bit of aging. Not I don't want let's just give them a little bit of edge and a little bit of slightly more grit and attitude, and make the games deeper and more fun and just more quality. And I think that the team behind Splatoon and Animal Crossing are very well versed in doing this. They're great at building worlds, which is something that I think the Pokemon team could actually use.
Those are good points, and it would be nice to have that for Pokemon. But if the Mario team was in charge of making the Pokemon games, we would have so many different spin-offs. I mean, there would be Pokemon Kart, Pokemon Party, a lot of different Pokemon sports games.
Do we want this, Sergio?
We do, and Nintendo definitely does, because they would sell like crazy hotcakes. Crazy hotcakes.
I mean, it's going to either way, and I can see the value of the Mario team. but I'm gonna stick. I think Pokemon really needs just a little bit better world building, story, lore. Make the games a little bit different. Make them a little bit unique. And I think that the Splatoon team could do a really good job on that. So, chat, no comment. Okay, Splatoon, DJ Peak. Is that a Splatoon reference? All right, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Oh, I'm taking this one.
Landslide.
I'm taking this one. Okay. Cool. It's your question.
Okay. So Shy Guy asked, Bowser, misunderstood and socially inept, or villain?
I don't know which one I want to argue here. You know what? I think he honestly tries to be a villain. I think he does, and I think that he's set up, much like Wreck-It Ralph, which would have been a great analogy for the conversation earlier. But much like Wreck-It Ralph, his core function is to be the villain of Mario. And you know what, Bowser? You do a good job at it, man. You design some really interesting castles, and just because you are a bad guy does not mean that you are a bad guy. So, Bowser, you're a villain, but we love you.
Yeah, well, I don't know how much of a villain he really is, considering how much he fails, really. I feel like he's just misunderstood to the point that he has actually been not only playable in a lot of Nintendo games, the more, it's been more and more as time goes on, which is great. But he has even been on Mario's side for several adventures now, and I feel like that just goes to explain to him, he's really not a villain. He might just like Peach a lot, but I feel like he's just misunderstood, and I think even Mario knows that, agrees with that, and that's why he doesn't really beat him up for good.
Well, but at the same time, every time that he does join up with Mario, he doesn't just it's never like to solve a greater evil or something. It is that is the after effect, but it is a more, self-centric reason. In the case of like Mario RPG, he just wanted his castle back. He made that very clear. He just wanted his castle back, and the way to do that was to go beat up the bad guys. But, it's not exactly an altruistic reason.
Well, and you know what makes me wonder also how much of a villain Bowser supposedly is? I feel like Nintendo of America would not have picked Doug Bowser as their president if the Bowser name was heavily associated with a villain. You don't want that with your company. Somebody who's misunderstood. I feel like that's part of Nintendo's mantra. It's the misunderstood gaming company that you don't never really know what's in store with their games, and especially their systems and their controllers. I feel like that's a better fit for Bowser, somebody that is misunderstood and not a flat out villain.
I mean, I can see it, but I don't want to hurt his feelings, because I think, like I said, Bowser, I think, man, you are the true villain. You're the best. You're the best. Just period. Yeah, I know that sometimes you like going Mario Karting. That makes sense. Villains can go karting around in their awesome Bowser cycles and such. So yeah, he's the villain. He's definitely his goals are fairly, muted. He's not like Ganon is clearly the villain. He wants to dominate the world and become the king or whatever, and basically ends up throwing everything into chaos. Bowser really just wants certain things. He wants his home. He wants his castle. He wants to hang out with Princess Peach, which Mario is constantly getting in the way of. And that's it. That's all his goal is. Now, is his goal morally good? No, not really. Kidnapping is wrong, people. But that's his goal, and that's all he wants to do. So the fact that, if he fails, that doesn't mean he's less villainous. That just means he's not very good at it. Or he is, trying to be the villain. I think, yeah. I think he is a villain, and I wouldn't have him any other way.
Nice.
Yeah, Sonic put it best. I mean, he is evil. He's just an idiot as well. Yep. There you go. Perfect. That's it. All right. So, chat, Final answer. Is Bowser a villain or just misunderstood? Ooh, 1-1.
Oh,
Oh, we're all tied
it's
up.
tied up.
Oh, I
Oh,
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm gonna take this one.
yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I agree with that. King Dedede is not a villain. He actually cares about the safety of the of Dreamland. Anyways, that's a whole other subject. All right, chat. Give us a good question. I don't want coins versus rupees. Give us something meaty. And all this is going to be edited out anyway, so no, I don't want coins versus rupees, man. Okay, I like Shy's answer there. Yeah, Sonic, you actually touched on one that I would love to argue one in the future. Who is the villain of the Mario series? I think that would actually be a very nice argument.
It would be Mario.
It would be Mario. It would absolutely be Mario. Anyways, you want to go with Shy Guy's question of the final Smash Brothers character? I think I like that one.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, Shy Guy writes, obviously, we know more characters are to come, but if the last spot in the Fighter's Pass was the last character to be added to Smash Brothers ever, who is most deserving of it? This one's going to take a second. Because the first thing you got to do is think who is not here.
Right.
And of the people who are not here, who is actually missing?
This is gonna surprise you. I'm gonna go with Parappa the Rapper.
You're right. That does surprise me.
So, the reason for that is because I feel like if Parappa were to be in Smash, scratch that. I don't feel that I know if he was in the game, it would be because of a huge collaboration between Nintendo and Sony. And who would win if that were to happen? Everybody would. I feel like the partnership would open up like we had or have with Nintendo and Microsoft. We would get something very similar. And when you start, crossing the streams and comparing these two companies and making friends out of them in a way, you start to realize that Parappa the Rapper was an influence to Paper Mario. I haven't really checked the timing on the release of those games, but who really knows, which one came first or which one was inspired by the other. I also feel like Parappa's gameplay and aesthetics and the way you play that game and the way it is designed, it's very much like it belongs on a Nintendo system. I feel like both Nintendo and Sony know that, and that's why they have been saving the one of the last Smash Brothers characters to be this huge revelation of a partnership, an unprecedented partnership, if you will, between Nintendo and Sony. And like I said, everybody would win.
Just to help your point a little bit, his moveset writes itself. He can kick and punch. It's all in the mind, so it's, yeah, I see it. So I'm going to go with, if I'm going with the character as phrased, most deserving to be the final Super Smash Brothers character ever, I'm thinking, to me, Super Smash Brothers started as a Nintendo series, a Nintendo-based franchise, Nintendo superstars fighting each other. And I want it to end that way too. So instantly, third parties are out the window. I want it to be a core Nintendo character. And when I think of core Nintendo characters, who do I think is most deserving, most overlooked, needs a spot? It's got to be Slippy Toad. I'm going with Slippy Toad as the final Smash Brothers character. You know why? Because, yeah, we have Star Fox reps already in there, but Slippy is the best character Nintendo has. That's a lie, but I'm going to go with it. He's so overlooked. He gets made fun of constantly, but without him, you can't analyze your enemy's shields. You know what Smash Brothers has? Shields. It needs somebody to come in and analyze why they just don't work sometimes and you get hit through them. Yeah, I need that. I need a crazed Toad running around the battlefield dropping smart bombs everywhere and designing things like the submarine for Super Smash Brothers. Slippy would actually help you design more into the game once he's in the game. He would be a dynamic, awesome character. Deserves to be in there. Slippy, you're the man.
That would be nice. And, we don't really know who's going to be the last character. But I just feel like by going with the fighters pass that we've been having, it's all been third party characters. And, Darrel, you love Banjo and Kazooie. And that's from the Microsoft side. So I feel like Nintendo does have something from the Sony side, and I feel like Parappa it's a very good candidate, and I feel like it would be very fitting to end the Smash Brothers DLC with something that big, something that tells the video game industry, we're not here to fight. The characters are, but Nintendo and Sony are not. We're friends, and we also like Microsoft, and this could very well pave the way for that unified console that some people want, and there's validity to that. And I feel like the companies are listening, and if Sony is game, I feel like Nintendo would be as well.
Wait, I just realized I was saying the wrong character. I didn't mean Slippy Toad, I just meant regular Toad. Okay, mic drop, there we go.
No, Slippy would be way better.
Yeah, Slippy would be the best. Slippy would be the absolute best, but I think I'm going to give you this one. I really do. I wouldn't have thought of Parappa, but I kind of want him now. So there you go. And if there's ever an Echo Fighters pass, please put Slippy in it. Please. Just like with a taunt that's just like, Fox, help me. Oh, yes. That would be fantastic. All right. Well, I think with all that, this was a lot of fun. I think that I wasn't keeping score. Somebody probably should have, but I think we ended up pretty even on it, to be honest.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Well done, man.
Yeah, definitely. And
we can go back to being friends now. I think. If you're cool with it.
Yeah, definitely. But I feel like we still have some of the bigger debates for later. We had Wii versus Wii U, and we had Galaxy versus Sunshine. So look out for maybe a more focused debate in the future.
Oh yeah, you better believe we're gonna do this again. So yeah, this one was the fun one. Next time we actually burn bridges. So there we go. All right, you want to wrap us with a recap of the question?
Yes, we have a few answers from last week's question, which was, who is the better villain, King Boo or Majin Buu? First of all, Kevin, who couldn't join us today, he asked us to answer for him, and he is going with King Boo because he is a character that he was playing at in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. That's the character that he started at, actually, so cool. Shy Guy told us, I really like this answer. He said, Majin Buu is far inferior. He lives in a universe where matter can go faster than the speed of light. So, while he appears tough, really the physics is just altered. It's no big deal that he's strong. This is evidenced by the fact that he was defeated essentially by the world, metaphorically holding hands. Meanwhile, nobody knows how to even hurt King Buu. This is all very factual and very well said.
It is. And I gotta say, King Boo is the only character in the Nintendo franchise that I'm aware who actually realizes who the true hero in the Mario series is. He goes after Luigi, not Mario. Like he instantly captures Mario because that's easy. Yeah. So, yeah, King Boo all the way.
Yeah, definitely, I agree, and I guess because part of what you said, he is a true villain more than Bowser, I would say. But also on the other hand, I really don't like when quote unquote villains come back as good guys like Majin Buu did, and then turns out he's just lazy and he falls asleep when he should be fighting. So, King Buu, he's the real villain. He's always the villain. If he's not being a villain, it's because he's trapped. And that says a lot.
Fair enough on that one. Do we have a question for this week, though?
Yes, we do. So, imagine you are 10 years old and you embark on a journey across the country. Whatever country you're from, that's where you are.
Sounds vaguely familiar or something.
Yeah. You're mostly on your own, but you can take a few animals with you. But the question for this week is, would you rather go on this journey with a sword or with a shield?
Oh, I see what you're doing there. You're making a clever joke about something. I don't know.
So, yeah, definitely. Let us know.
Cool. Excellent.
Well, thanks for listening, everyone. We're going to jump out of here. But you can keep the discussion going by chatting with us on our Discord group. The description for this episode has a link to our Discord if you would like to join. And whenever we do this type of live episodes, you can join us there as well. We are also on Twitter and on Instagram as NintendoJump, and we also have a Facebook group. Please send us any feedback you have at NintendoJumpPodcast@gmail.com. The best way to support this show is through our Patreon page, which is patreon.com/NintendoJump, or by leaving a review for the show in your favorite podcast application. We would really appreciate it. This is Sergio, and on behalf of Darrel and, even Kevin, thank you for listening, and we hope you have a great week. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much for putting up with us through that. Bye.
Bye-bye.